Hello, and welcome back to another episode of When She No Longer Wants to Cook for You, Here's What You Do. Listen, this is a special episode because we have a woman on the show. Now, this is not just any woman. I grew up with this woman, 1189 Harlem, my house.
Yes,
Audrey.
Harlem in the building.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Marcus.
Thank you for being on. You know, we was working to get her on. It took a minute, but, you know, things happen. But
I'm here.
you are here,
Yes.
and we are here on a cold day in Maryland.
Yes.
Audrey, tell us what you're going to cook for us today.
So today I'm going to start with my the original vanilla rum cake.
Okay.
This is the very first cake that I made, and it turned into a business.
Nice. Now, she's been featured on TV, magazines, and newspapers. So she's been around and well known. The Rum Cake Kitchen is very well known. So for her just to do my little show is
Your
a
big
blessing.
show.
It's a
His big
blessing.
show.
It's a blessing. But we want to know everything about you and what inspired you. So she's going to break that down to us. She's going to get into it at the same time. When she no longer wants to cook for you, Audrey, Maryland, baking is going to show us what to do. People, we'll be right back.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Audrey Watson. I am the owner of the Rum Cake Kitchen. Today, I'm going to be making the original vanilla rum cake. This is the cake that started it all. I was born in New York City, Bronx, New York, raised in Spanish Harlem. Shout out to 1199 is where I grew up at. I want to thank everyone that has supported the Rum Cake Kitchen from New York, DC, Jersey, Maryland. I appreciate all the support. Um, so I started baking when I was young, probably about 6. Started with the Easy Bake Oven and just went on to baking for cake sales and different events. And every holiday I started making a sweet potato pie. I've been making it for years, over 20 years. So I got bored with the pie and I thought to myself, I need to call my cousin in Nassau, Bahamas. That's where my grandmother is from, and she is the rum cake queen. So I called my cousin Jan and I got the family recipe and I baked a rum cake just for the holidays and posted it on Facebook. And all of a sudden, I was getting different requests for cakes, and I had no interest in baking cakes. So I turned down a lot of people and I said, well, I'm not baking. So a friend of mine kept telling me, you need to, why don't you start a business, sell some cakes? And I wasn't interested. So after 2 months of being nagged, I eventually made 12 cakes on Super Bowl weekend. And that's where the rum cake business started. And I've been in business about 4 years now. And I've grown from a rum cake to several different rum cakes, bourbon peach cobbler. And now I'm doing birthday cakes for all occasions. Um, so today I'm going to start with the original vanilla rum cake. Um, Everything is already in the mixer, all the ingredients. It's a family recipe, so I won't be giving out too much information. Um, so I'm going to be adding eggs to the recipe, and I'm going to be adding a little bit of vanilla. My oven is already on. I put it on 325, and the cake usually bakes for 30 minutes. So I'm using a KitchenAid blender mixer, which is my favorite. And I usually mix for about a minute to 2 minutes, depending on how the batter looks. So I'm mixing the batter. You want to make sure all your ingredients are mixed. So again, I started with this original vanilla, and I think I have about 8 different flavors of cakes. I have tropical lemon, we have rump velvet, I have nutty for you. That's vanilla rum cake with pecans and walnuts. I have berry berry strawberry and vanilla caramel kiss. So those are some of the flavors that I have. So I'm going to cut off the mixer, and I'm going to check the batter to make sure everything is mixed up. So I'm going to blend it one more time, and then it'll be ready to go into the oven. So let's mix it one more time. So I love to bake. Baking gives me like peace of mind. I'm in my own world when I'm baking. Okay, so now we're going to transfer the batter into the bundt pan. So again, I bake on 325 for at least 30 minutes. You don't want your heat to be too high because your cake will burn, and the middle will not be done and the top will be burnt. So I'm spraying with some olive oil. And when you spray your pan, just make sure you get each section, because the cake will stick to the pan, and then your cake will just break apart. So you gotta spray it really good. So now I'm going to transfer the batter into the baking pan. So sometimes I add the rum in the batter, or sometimes I just add it at the end after the cake is baked. Sometimes most of the flavor bakes out, so I like to put it at the end. So make sure you get all of your batter and spread it evenly in the baking dish. One more scrape and we should be good. Okay, so now we're ready to put the baking dish in the oven for 30 minutes. And I really don't open and close the oven too much, because that's how you make your cake will just fall. It'll be a disaster. And I usually set a timer, 30 minutes. Okay, so I set the oven to 30 minutes. So once the cake is done, I let it cool about 15 minutes, and then I add my rum and my glaze afterwards. So what do I want to talk about? So I always like to, let my audience know that I was a breast cancer survivor. I've been a breast cancer survivor for 12 years. And I always like to let everyone know that you should always get a mammogram. I mean, I didn't have a lump. It was just my annual mammogram, and they saw something on the mammogram, so I took a biopsy, and it came back positive for cancer. So I basically had to do a lumpectomy and 6 weeks of radiation. And It wasn't in my lymph nodes, so I was clear. I've been cancer free. But I like to stress to everyone to if you have a lump, go see the doctor. Don't skip your mammograms. If it's running in your family and you're under 40, you should get a mammogram just to check, because sometimes children can get cancer, because the parents already had cancer already. And it's emotional and you're scared, but you have to stay positive and just do what you need to do to get better. So coming back from breast cancer, it just made me just want to just live life, do things that make you happy, make memories, and it's not the end of the world. Research has come a long way, and it's not a death sentence. So make sure you get your mammograms. So let's see. So I also do a peach cobbler, bourbon peach cobbler, that's very popular on the menu. I make a crust. We add our peaches. We add some bourbon to it, and we put it in the oven. And it's really good with ice cream or whipped cream. That is very good. What else do I do? So I just started doing birthday cakes. I made like 1 or 2 cakes this past summer, and I've been watching other bakers. So now it's like I'm really getting good at it, and my goal is to do a wedding cake. Haven't done a wedding cake yet, but that's going to be the next project. So if you bake, I recommend looking at YouTube, follow other bakers on Instagram, because there are a lot of talented people out there, and they give you a lot of ideas. Baking, I do cookies. Oh, another item on the Rum Cake Kitchen menu. I do a coquito cookie. That's very popular during the holidays. It's a sugar cookie with a coquito glaze on top, and that's really good. I also do coquito. I also have that on the menu. So starting from a rum cake, and I built it up to so many different things. So if that's your dream, if you want to start a business, if you want to bake, cook, just go ahead and do it. I mean, it's just, it's trial and error. Everything's not going to be perfect, but eventually you just keep practicing. Like I said, my main goal is to do a wedding cake. That's the main goal. I'll be working on that soon. So this is the sugar. This is confectioner's sugar. I use this and some other things for the glaze. So this will come after the cake is done and once the cake cools off. Oh, I have another cake, another rum cake, and I make this one with blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, kiwi. I put all of that on the top with the glaze, and that's a popular cake in the summertime. I recommend, if you're a baker, I recommend a KitchenAid mixer. I wouldn't use a hand mixer, because if you're constantly baking, it's going to put wear and tear on your wrists. Invest in a mixer. I have 2, and I purchased my mixers on Black Friday. Black Friday is usually a good time to purchase your mixers because they're a lot cheaper. So these mixers can't fail you. So we're going to take a time out. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Listen, we're back. As the baking process is taking place, I've come back to ask Audrey some questions, because she's really downplaying a lot of the stuff she's done. She is actually an incredible person. Audrey.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that Baltimore Sun. Now, Baltimore Sun, for you people who don't know, who are not from America, that's a major paper. If you're in New York, that's like the New York Times and the New York Daily News. How did you get in the Baltimore Sun?
Well, thanks to my childhood friend, Tanya Brown.
Okay.
Shout out to Tanya.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
here in Maryland.
My childhood friend, too. Okay.
Yes, all of us grew up together.
Okay.
She actually goes to the same church as one of the reporters, Mrs. Ursula. And she called me up, and she said she was going to come over and do an interview with me. It was Breast Cancer Month was coming up.
Okay.
And we did the interview about breast cancer, and then we led into the Rum Cake Kitchen.
Gotcha.
So she told me that, the picture would come out like October, mid-October to end of October. So one morning I received a phone call from a gentleman in Florida, and he was like, hey, can I speak to Audrey Watson? And I was like, speaking, and he was like, you are on the cover of the Baltimore Sun. And I said, no, I'm in the paper. Because, she told me I was going to be in the paper. So he said, no, you're on the cover. So he said, go online and look it up. So I went online, and I was on the cover. I almost fell out the bed. So they decided to put me on the cover, and it was very shocking.
Okay.
It was a great experience. I got to tell my story about the breast cancer and how I started my business.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that I've done so far.
Now, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Another thing she's not saying, talking about it, she's actually been on TV.
Yes.
And I don't know why I got to pull it out of her to talk about it, but this is what it is. Tell us about that. How was that experience?
Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, I was featured on Baltimore Lifestyles on Fox 5 here in Baltimore. I got to meet Tiffany Watson. Shout out to Tiffany. Thank you for having me on the show. It was a great experience. And we basically, it was we talked about how I got started, the rum cake business. And we talked about, both of us are from the islands. My grandmother's from the Bahamas. And she was from, I believe she said she is Guyanese. Yes.
There you go.
So we had that in common, and we both had the same last name, Watson.
There you go.
So it was a little nerve-wracking because I was actually at the Fox studio, but this was my second time on the show. I was featured on the show in 2020 for Valentine's Day. Nice. So, but it was fun. It was a great experience.
Okay.
Yes.
What was the biggest challenge to that? Just seeing yourself on TV, was that kind of
Seeing yourself on TV and trying to decide which camera you had to look into.
Okay,
because there was two cameras, but I figured it out.
See, we're very low budget here, so we only got two cameras here, and this is the main camera, so you don't have to worry about that here. Let's talk about some of the challenges of starting a business like this. What are some of the ups and downs?
Well, I always recommend nowadays when you have a business, you should have a website. Okay. A lot of people depend on social media, but everybody is not on social media. So it's really great to have a website. I did my own website myself. Someone recommended it to me, and I was like, I can't do a website. And I did it in 3 days. 3 days,
Nice.
Something I never did, and it came out really nice, and I still have it to this day. And a website is 24/7. So you're making money when you're sleeping. People are up. I mean, I have sent cakes to North Carolina, Florida, Chicago, all over. So make sure you do a website, because that contributes to your business. Because again, people like to see, everybody's not on social media.
Yeah.
So everybody gets on the internet, and everybody's always Googling things. A lot of people Google rum cakes because for some reason a lot of people don't do rum cakes. Okay. So, it's busy around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Sometimes in the summer, it can be up and down, but that's why I started doing the birthday cakes. Yeah. Okay. Because birthdays are all year round.
All the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's really good. I've actually had ordered some of your stuff, and it's really good. I'm not saying that because it's my homegirl from $11.99, but I'm really proud of you.
Oh, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you
just
and your
for
show.
Putting it out there, the rum cake. Just say, if I wanted a cake without rum, could I get that?
Sure, I do cakes without rum. You don't necessarily have to have rum, because a lot of people don't drink. So I do regular cakes without rum, cakes with rum. I do even sweet potato pies with rum.
Really?
Yes, I have a rum sweet potato pie. That's really good.
Her information is going to be on the bottom of the screen, because I know a lot of you want to try the sweet potato rum cake. That's phenomenal. That's really amazing. Yeah. So, in the oven here, how long is that going to take?
About 30 minutes. I'm going to check it out and see how we're going.
All right, I just wanted her to open that. That's all. So that was my way of getting on. Yeah, that's looking real. You guys can't see that, but that's looking really good.
Yeah, it's almost done.
Okay.
I don't usually bake in this oven. Okay. So I'm very particular about baking, because every oven is not the same, and ovens bake differently.
I've heard that before, and that's real. I mean,
that is real.
I had Mr. Bake on the show a few months back, and he said the same thing. Yeah. So that's not just throwing it in the oven and just doing.
No, because the ovens they're different. Like I have a convection oven. So it cooks differently. It cooks with I believe with a fan. Yep. And the heat is circulating, so the cake bakes differently. Okay. So I recommend to bake in your oven, because the cake, cakes come out different in different ovens.
Can we open that one more time? Because that smells so
Sure.
good. I just want to. Damn, that smells good. I'm so freaking greedy. I'm sorry. I had to open it just to get a smell of that. Because as she's talking, I'm smelling it, and it smells so damn good. I'm sorry about that. We didn't need to open that again. But could I get into baking?
Sure.
And what's the simplest thing I should start off with? Like, besides like biscuits or something like.
I would start off with cookies.
Okay.
Yeah. I would start off like Pillsbury.
Okay.
I would practice with Pillsbury cookies. The dough was already prepared and you just cut them up and bake them. I would start with that.
Okay.
And work your way up, go from that and try to make some cupcakes. And go from a cupcake to a small cake. And go from a small cake to a big cake.
Wow.
Because I never thought I would be doing birthday cakes. I mean, I was just doing rum cakes and now I'm doing like 2 and 3 and 4 layer cakes. And again, my goal is to do a wedding cake.
That's amazing. Well, listen, this is almost done. So our little break is almost over, but we just wanted to get to know her a little more. One thing about, when people come on the show, somebody like Audrey, they're doing a lot, but you got to pull it out of them to kind of talk about themselves. You all laugh, so we got to get you to talk about yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's why we did this. But listen, we're going to come back. We're going to let her continue on, and then I'll come back after the show. We'll try it, and we'll ask some more questions. When she no longer wants to cook for you, Audrey Marilyn showed us what to do. Actually, when she no longer wants to bake for you, she showed us what to do.
I like that.
I'm not changing the title of my show. We'll be right back.
Hi, we're back. So we put the rum cake in the oven for about 30 minutes, so it's done. So we let it cool about 10-15 minutes. I like it to be a little bit warm so that I can add the glaze and the rum topping on top. So I think the cake is ready to go on the platter. So this is what the cake looks like. So what I usually do is just make sure the cake is not sticking. This is why it's important to spray your pan. And I take and I turn it around like this. And then there you have it. Sometimes if you take it out too early, if it's hot, the cake will break up. It'll break apart. So what I like to do is I like to take a fork. I have a certain fork that I use, and I just punch holes around the cake so that when you pour the glaze and the rum topping, it'll drip into the cake. I bake with rum too. And you can use whatever rum, that you like. You can use dark rum, light rum. My cousin in the Bahamas, she uses 3 different types of rums. I don't take it that far. So this is the glaze. And I use a small cup. And kind of measure it, it's like a shot. And I take it. And I just put it around the cake. Depending on your customer, some people like it light, some people like it heavy. So we're gonna do it a little heavy. Do 3. And just make sure it gets all around the cake. One more. Just make sure you get So now we're going to glaze the cake. So I already have the glaze made up. I mean, there are different type of glazes you can make. I do mine with confectionate sugar and some other ingredients. So I just take my spoon and I just glaze the cake like this. You just make sure that, I mean, it's up to you. Some people don't like a lot of glaze, so they like it light. So I'm just going to do this regular how I usually do it. Spread the glaze around. I made this one. Sometimes I like to make it a little thicker than this. This is a little thin, but depending on, how much liquid you put in your sugar, that determines the consistency of the glaze. And then after I glaze the cake, I let it sit in the refrigerator for about a good 10 minutes, and the glaze turns hard. Just glaze it all around. And you don't necessarily have to have glaze. You can just have a cake with no glaze. Sometimes I put fruit. Sometimes I put walnuts. Sometimes I put pecans, caramel. The caramel kiss is a good rum cake. I mean, you can basically put whatever you want. You can put coconut. I have a Coca Cabana. That's a coconut rum cake with coconut. So this is the finished product. Add a little more glaze over here. Fruit. You can add whatever you like. So I let it sit in the refrigerator about 10-15 minutes. But I like to do it when it's still warm. Put my rum and put my glaze. And there you have it. This is the original vanilla rum cake. The first cake of the Rum Cake Kitchen. This is how it all started. And we will be right back.
Okay, we're back. We're at the end of the show. The place is smelling so good. I cannot wait to dip into this rum cake. Audrey,
Yes.
you gotta
Are
cut
you
it.
ready?
Let me have it. I am ready. I walked in here ready.
We are gonna cut the cake.
Okay.
So Marcus can try it out.
And I was told I could take this whole cake home.
Yes.
So, yeah, so. Oh, heck yeah, damn.
There you go. There's a fork.
That Harlem. Oh, wow. That
How
is
is it?
good.
Because that, the ovens vary.
That is good. Oh. I got questions for you, but let me take like some more.
Okay, yeah, help yourself. Knock yourself out. Take
I'm
this
gonna
back.
take that rum in there.
Back to, you taste it?
Whoa.
Is it too heavy? Is it too
No, it's
heavy?
not.
It's perfect? Okay. I don't like to do too much unless it's requested.
That's serious. Look at me getting all lit and everything.
No, we don't want any problems on the road.
Okay, put this down for a second.
Okay.
So, you gotta say that. That's amazing.
I'm glad you
That's
enjoyed
amazing.
it. I was nervous about the oven because it's not my oven.
Okay, but you know what? You got that off. Now, I heard your cakes come with a warning.
Yes.
Will we talk about that?
Yes, let's talk about the warning
Okay.
label
Okay.
on the Rum Cake Kitchen cakes. So, I have customers that buy cake for events, birthdays, for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I always try to give them a warning. I always tell them, if you want your cake for Thanksgiving, do not open it up, do not take a slice, because you're going to wind up not having a cake for the holiday. And it has happened to several customers.
Yeah.
They have called me or they have texted me and said, oh my God, I opened up the cake and it's gone. And then they have no dessert for Thanksgiving. They have no dessert for the event.
I believe it because this is so freaking amazing. I'm watching you put this together, and even with the glaze, I'm like, wow, so that's how it's done. Like, I'm just so oblivious to certain things. I mean, I'm a pretty smart guy, but I'm looking at you put the glaze, I'm like, oh, so that's how it's done.
Yeah.
I can't do something like that.
Yes, you can.
Well, with not.
You
Let's be
can.
real. I mean, you told me I need to start with cookies.
Yes.
So I'm gonna kick it.
Start with the cookies if you don't bake.
But talk about with the Rum Cake Kitchen and everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we expect as far as
Well, again, I'm doing all occasion cakes,
Okay.
birthday cakes, and that's really gotten off the ground. Like,
Okay.
I'm starting to get a lot of requests for different cakes. If you look on my Instagram, the Rum Cake Kitchen, you can see all of the different cakes that I do. I do cakes with flowers, with roses. I mean, whatever the customer wants, that's what I try to create for them.
Now-
And the cakes are really good.
I saw a cake on your social media. I believe it was for your granddaughter's cake. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
cake was amazing.
Yes. Shout out to my granddaughter, London
There you
Hart.
go, London. There you go. Grandma is shouting you out. So that cake was amazing.
Thank you.
You know how you have so many questions, and when the camera comes on, you
I
forget
know,
more.
you
And
forget.
I'm trying to like get it together, but I want to learn how to do this. Another thing I wanted to ask you, we already spoke about what motivated you to bake the cakes,
Right.
and I want to learn how to do that. My mom was a baker.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, she was a baker, and so this, it just smells amazing, like she did it. I want to tell y'all something though. All right, so Audrey knew this. So usually when I travel to Maryland or out of New York, I ask for like, yo, come in the distance. I need 2 episodes. So I'm like, we discussed this. Audrey was like, listen, I'm gonna tell you this, all right, beforehand. I was late up 4 o'clock this morning. I had another cake to make, and we doing 1 episode. So I'm like, okay, tell me about that demand of trying to meet those deadlines.
Yeah. So I have a good friend of mine, Yvette. She ordered an 80th birthday cake for her mom, which was today. So usually
Happy birthday.
when say the cake, they want the cake for Saturday. I always like to bake the cake the night before. And then I like to put the first round of icing on the cake, and then I put it in the refrigerator and let it set.
Okay.
Then that morning I get up early and I re-ice the cake like twice, and then I decorate it. And so it's ready for them for pickup. So I went to bed at almost 4:30 this
Wow.
morning.
Wow. So yeah. So
Because it was like a 2-layer square cake.
okay.
Yeah. Almost close to a wedding cake. Yeah.
Which is leading you into doing
Yes.
eventually do wedding cake.
Yes, I'm eventually doing wedding
But
cakes.
can that demand be overwhelming?
It can be sometimes because you want it to be perfect, you want it to be right. When people pay their money, their hard-earned money, you want the product to be on point.
It's funny. I know there's certain things I do, and when you're doing it on your own, it's carefree. But when money's involved with other people, it is that demand. It is
It's
that
demanding, yes.
pressure. But you live up to the hype. You all that.
Thank you.
You
I
all
tried.
that. No, you don't try. A lot of us try. You do. And so I just want you to know, growing up in, from Spanish Harlem, I know you was from the Bronx.
Yeah, I was born in the Bronx.
I was born in Brooklyn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a Brooklyn cat.
Oh.
All the time thinking we Harlem kids.
No, but I was raised in Harlem. I probably lived in the Bronx, I don't know, a year.
I'm from Brooklyn, and I moved to Spanish Harlem when I was 3. So
Oh.
it's just so funny when people you've grown up with, and you just assume So that's
Yeah,
just
my
something.
dad was from the Bronx.
Okay.
My father was from somewhere in the Bronx, and my
Okay.
mom was from Queens.
Okay, there you go.
And then we was raised in Harlem.
Okay, so that's how, But I just want to say I'm really proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
This
Thanks
has
for having me on the
Well, this
show.
has been an honor getting you on.
Yes.
A long time coming. We have talked about
Yes, we have talked about it.
So, I've traveled through a New York City snowstorm.
Yes, he came through the snow.
But you know what?
Through the
Through the
traffic.
snow, and it's like 40 below outside in Maryland right now. But you know what? You were worth it.
Thank you.
My
I'm
sister,
glad
I'm
you
proud
came.
of you. We're family, and I'm
Yes.
just glad you blessed my show. Give me a hug. I always
Thank
got
you,
love for you.
Marcus.
So listen.
Yes.
It's my people. Her information is going to be on the bottom of the screen. She's going to let me know all her social medias and all her contact info. So, we need to support each other. I want you to, she's all that. I'm not just saying that because she's family to me, but her cakes are really good. So I want us to go support her and just, lift her up And you know what I'm saying? She's, you know, and no additive, no preservative. She's a real person and a really sweet person, and I'm on it. So on that note, when she no longer cook for you, Audrey, not cook but bake, showed us what to do, and we're gonna call it a night because I gotta get back to New York. Okay. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
I really had a good time.
Yes, and I had
This has been definitely been fun.
and you did your thing.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Everybody. Good night.